It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute the big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have Dr. Barrett Matthews. He's in the building. He'll be talking about how you can be everywhere, anytime. What's going on, Dr. Barrett? How you doing?
Hey, Shay, man, I'm doing marvelously well and improving. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. You know, I don't be a Debbie Downer here, but I've got to ask the question, why are we having a conversation about people being everywhere, especially entrepreneurs, anytime? So I guess the main question I have is, why are entrepreneurs struggling to get their message or get their brand or be anywhere all the time? What's holding them back these days?
Well, first of all, Shay, you could never be a Debbie Downer. You're the happy entrepreneur. But answering that question, what happens is people have been taught methods that worked at a time, but they don't necessarily work now when it comes to putting themselves out on different platforms. Like I said, you're in sales. So I'm sure there are people who have been taught sales methods that are really no longer up to date, and they have to change with the times. So the same thing applies when it comes to putting ourselves out there on different media platforms when it comes to our business and our exposure.
So what are some of the things that we have been taught that are no longer relevant? I mean, I agree with you, but someone listening at home saying, okay, Shay, it makes sense, but I mean, which one? Or which ones would he bring up right now that I need to immediately toss because they're no longer relevant?
Well, Shay, I'm so glad you asked that question. One of them is, like, for instance, we've been taught to take one area of media, drill down on that, and just focus on that, and everything will work out as long as you just stay focused on that. So let's just say that we just take this show, for instance, and this is the only media that you focus on, and you put everything all into the Happy Entrepreneur Show. So that would be saying that no need for you to be on social media, Shay. There's no need for you to be on audio platform. There's no need for you to have books because everything is in here. But we have so many different media platforms now. We have access to so many things. And guess what? The public, everyone consumes their information through at least one form of media. But we don't necessarily know which form every person takes part in. So you should have a presence on various forms of media, not just one place. Because if you have it in one place, you are missing so many other opportunities with people because those other people could be your clients. They could be those people that could actually turn your business around. But if you don't have a presence there, they don't find you and you don't find them.
I know it's going to sound kind of crazy, but media means different things to different people. Can you slow down for a moment? Then we'll speed up and talk about what is your definition of media and what does that look like? Is it just Shay Brown posting on social media? I guess that could be media. Is it just the fact of, oh, by the way, I need to make sure I have some audio out there? Let's take a moment and define from your view of the world, what is the definition of media today and, the role that it plays for entrepreneurs?
Sure. Simply put, media is the conduit or tool by which you convey information to the masses, to the public. So it could be the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It could be social media. It could be a newspaper. It could be a blog. It could be a television show. It could be a film. These are all forms of media. And to my point earlier, everyone consumes information through at least one form of media. So this is why when I use the term media, and I'm glad you put it like that, the question like that, Shay, because when I use the term media, I'm talking about all of these forms. It could be a webinar. All these are different forms of media. A lot of times when I say media, people only think social media. And I'm like, no, that's just one form because there are so many different forms of media out there for you to partake in. And that's why I tell people, I don't necessarily want people today, I got to dominate every space. But I think you should have a presence on various forms of media because you never know where people are looking.
So is this different than public relations? I mean, PR, And this is, for those folks that are advanced, this might be a good advanced question for you. And for those folks that are not as advanced, I'm going to come back in a moment. Don't worry. I'm going to ask them about, what if you don't want to be on camera? What if you're not technically challenged? And what if your message isn't clear? We'll get to that in a moment. But for you advanced folks, you might be thinking, how's Barrett's media different than public relations? I mean, do I just go get a public relations firm and let them go do what they do? So the difference between media, as you're referring to, and a PR or public relations type of media.
Oh, that's very good. Because the difference is that what I am doing with my clients is I am helping you create your own media, not what public relations firms usually do. They will take what your gifts, what your talents are, and put you on someone else's media. So they will help you get on someone's TV show, help you get in someone's book, or help you get on someone's podcast. And that's fine, because believe me, I help with public relations too. But what I want to do for my clients is help them to create their own media, which they own. Meaning that you own your own podcast, you have your own book, you have your own TV show. So what I want to do is help with my clients to create their own media. So, and then we have a PR arm where we can get you booked on other people's programs as well. But I want you to have your own so that you don't have to worry about, when is someone going to call my name? No, you can call your own name, because that's one way to get yourself out there. If you want more exposure, be your own PR. Put yourself out there. And if I may share a quick story, I remember years ago when you and I first met, I remember you and a few other people were doing these events. Remember the basement crew? We're doing these events. And I used to sit there and ask myself, I said, they don't ask me to speak. How come they don't ask me to speak? And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create my own space. And then what I want to do is ask them to come speak at my space, which we've done several times. But at that point, that's when you realize that Barrett can speak too. So then you started inviting me to speak on your event. And so my thing to the public here is this: stop waiting on someone to put you on their public relations platform or whatever it is. Create your own platform. When you create your own platform, you'll get noticed. When you get noticed, then other people will want to come to see you and find out what you have going on. So that's what I teach the people, Shay, and that's the difference between what I do versus what PR firms do.
They're listening to you and they're saying, Shay, I hear this guy. It's making sense. And it might even make sense, by the way. Makes sense and sense. I feel you out there, ladies and gentlemen. I feel you. But as you're listening to Dr. Barry, you might be wondering, Shay, I didn't get a chance to read this guy's bio. I have no clue who he is. Shay, I've not been Googling him. I've not gone to his website. Who is Barrett? We like to know. What's his backstory? And then what was that defining moment that led Dr. Barrett Matthews to really being so passionate about what he's doing now? So Dr. Barrett, you know the question. Who are you? What's the backstory, man? Talk to us.
Well, Shay, I grew up in a small town. No, actually, I grew up here not far from you in Glenarden, Maryland. And I went to college at Hampton University. And I started out thinking I wanted to be an architect. And I flunked out very quickly. And as many people who are watching know that feeling. And then I said, you know what? I need to change my major. I didn't know what I wanted to change to. And my sister said, well, Barrett, you've always been interested in television and radio. And I was thinking, well, isn't everybody? I didn't think of it as a major. Well, I changed my major to mass media arts, and Shay, my grades shot up. I was having fun. I enjoyed myself. I was known around campus to some people as Mr. Mass Media at some point. And because I was in everything. I had the sports radio show for the football team and basketball team. I used to call games with Kevin Frazier of Entertainment Tonight. I had the post-game show. I was writing for the newspaper. I was the sports director for the radio station. I was doing all of it. And then I got a chance to do an internship here in D.C. at WUSA TV. I did an internship, and I met a gentleman that you all see on TV every week now, especially during football season, and that man is James Brown. Well, JB took me under his wing. He became a mentor to me. When I got out of college, he put in a word for me and helped me get my first job as an assistant director at WUSA TV. So I worked in the news department as assistant director. Then he put in a call to me, and he said, hey, Barrett, would you be interested in coming up to New York and working for the network? I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course I would. So I got a chance to work for CBS Sports at the network. I did that where I worked on production and in research, and I got to work on NFL Today and work with some of the legends in the industry for a while. And then, Shay, that moment was when they said, well, Barrett, we're not going to renew your contract. And that's when I realized that I don't control anything, that they are in control. and they can tell me they don't want me anytime they want. And that's when I started really looking at, what life had to offer. So after that, I found a network marketing company. And within that company, I just realized that I'm in control of things. I can control whether I get paid. I can control whether I come to work or whether I don't want to come to work. And nobody can do anything about it but me. And that's when I caught that entrepreneurial bug. And that I left CBS in 1990. I have not worked a full-time job since 1990 because I have always worked for myself, because I realized that if I'm controlling it, I can make things happen. If it succeeds or it fails, it's all up to me. So that was my moment of when I said it's my January 1st, because I'm going to change things from that point on. And from that point, it led me to different ventures along the way, and it always led me back to media. So no matter what I was doing, something kept saying, you know what, Barrett, you need to do something media related. And then, as you and I met, you remember I was coaching productivity,
Yeah.
and but yet we ended up doing a radio station. And guess what? I'm back in media again. So we did a radio show, and I was coaching productivity, but still, I'm back in media. So it all came full circle for me.
I love it. I love it. And I believe that if you're an entrepreneur, you are in media by definition, at least by Barrett's definition, because you have some presence outside of the brick and mortar that you may own or not own, by the way. So I love it. I love it. Now, folks may say, well, Barrett, I'm not you. I've never been to school. I've never been trained. What do you say to the entrepreneur that says, I don't have a bunch of followers out there. I haven't really been formally trained. I'm okay with speaking to people, but this speaking on a camera is different for me, Barrett. So here's the direct question. What are 1, 2, or 3 things that someone can do to start taking their brand so they can be everywhere, anytime? You have to say, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. What would you share? And you at home, if we're listening to you in your ears, you might be at the gym for all I know. You might be in the car. You might be on the airplane watching, wherever you are. Lean in now, because you're getting it right from Dr. Barrett Matthews. And this is what he does all day, every day. Help you become a media boss. Over to you, Dr. Barrett.
All right. First thing I would tell you, out of the 3 things, number 1 is to be willing to hire somebody to do the things that you don't do well. I'm going to repeat that. Be willing to hire someone to do the things that you don't do well. The first book I wrote 3 books. The first one was called Why Didn't You Get It Done? And I always say, in order to get it done, you don't have to be the one. So make sure that you get someone who can do the things that you don't want to do. I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't like editing as far as like podcasts and videos. I don't like it. So guess what I do? I hire someone who enjoys it. So that's number 1. Be willing to hire someone to do the things that you don't want to do. Number 2, this is going to step on some toes here. Put your ego aside. The reason that you don't feel comfortable with getting on camera is because of your ego. Because guess what? The people watching, they don't care. They just want to know, what can you offer them that can help them grow? What can you give them that's going to make them a better person than they are right now? If you feel that you have something to give, don't let your ego get in the way of saying, well, I don't know if I look good on camera. I don't want people looking at me. That's all in your head about your ego. Get that out of the way, because I promise you, once you start doing it, you don't care, because you'll just start giving content. But I need you to get the ego out of the way. Then the third thing is, and this is gonna fall in line with the name of the show here, have fun, man. Have fun. The moment like for instance, when you watch this show, don't you think Shay is having fun every time you see the Happy Entrepreneur? Because if you're not having fun, it becomes a chore. When it becomes a chore, you will not want to do it anymore. So make sure that you are having fun with whatever it is you're doing, whichever medium you're doing, because when it becomes a chore, guess what? Not only won't you want to do it, but the audience will see that too, and they won't want to work with you when they know that the person they're even going to isn't even enjoying what they're doing. So, Shay, those are the 3 things that I have for them.
I love it, man. And it's a perfect segue. As you were saying, these 3 things they've got to do. They might be thinking, Dr. Barrett got it all together, Shay. He's been doing this since 1990. He's doing in media, back in media. He's having fun doing what he's doing right now. Has there been any challenges in his life? Now, we have a segment here, Dr. Barrett, called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what we're about to do. You can even go ahead and say those magical words. Today is my January 1st. And for all the new folks, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra at the show. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is or how bright and sunny that past is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Dr. Barrett on the other side is twofold. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? What do you hear? And number two, what was a setback you had in your life, man? There was a challenge. Maybe it was a media flub. I don't know. And how did you bounce back from it?
Well, what I hear when I hear the word today is my January 1st, it's like it's a beginning. It's a a chance for me to get going. It's a chance for me to forget everything behind me and to move forward. Now, as I mentioned when I was telling who am I, that moment when CBS told me that they don't want my services, I skipped a little bit because I didn't want to take up too much time in telling my story. But when I was in college, I was telling all my friends that I'm going to work for CBS Sports one day. It was my dream job. It was something that I wanted to do. And not to mention, was it my dream job? It was something that I could see that my family was so proud about. They were telling everyone. They would see my name go up on the credits every Sunday after the NFL show went off. I was so proud. I was working with legends like Brent Musburger, Irv Cross. I got to work with Terry Bradshaw, Dick Butkus, all of these legends that I grew up with. I was having phone calls with Roger Staubach. It was so much fun, and I enjoyed it. I was working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day at least. I was loving it until they waited until the Super Bowl came. And most of the office went to the Super Bowl. And I was left behind. And I didn't mind. I knew it was my first year, so I didn't make a big deal of it. But a lady named Sharon, she called me into the office. I won't forget it. And Shay, I'll tell you, when I walked in that office, it seemed like everything got better and the lights went down. Even though that didn't happen, but it felt like it. And she let me know that, Barrett, we're not going to renew your contract. And I'm like, huh? And she's like, we're going to relieve you of your services. We're not going to renew your contract. And I was devastated. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. Keep in mind, all of my dreams, this was what I wanted. Poof, it's gone. And I didn't know, what to do next. I didn't know should I move back home to Maryland? Should I stay here in New York? I didn't know what to do. It was a whole lot just going through my head all this time. But what happened was I had to, have that come to Jesus moment and say, you know what, Barrett? You're not working there anymore. You're going to have to move. Just move forward. And whatever happens, you got people that love you. You got people that support you. So just move forward and let God handle the rest for you. Because if you do that, you'll be fine. If you don't wallow in the self-pity, you're not going to go anywhere. So I decided to just step out. I moved out of New York. I went and got another job with a local cable station here in the DC area. I started doing that. And eventually I got into the business sector. As I mentioned, I found out network marketing company, which got me on that path of entrepreneurship. Because I was taught job up until that point. So I got into the entrepreneurship, and now I'm loving life, man. I'm still embracing media, but I had to separate from it for a while and then come back to it. So now I'm back on my own terms.
I love it, man. When I thanks for the transparency, thanks for being so open, and we can see the smile. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing now? Because the energy comes through. We can feel the passion coming through these fiber optic lines right now. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
What I enjoy most, Shay, is just living in who I am, if that makes sense. This is what I wanted to do, how much I enjoyed it. So I enjoy helping people along the way, but it's more about the fact that it's what I wanted to do, but I get to control it now. I don't have to wait and see if somebody's going to fire me or somebody's going to say, we don't need you today, because it's all me. I wake up every day saying, I need you. So it makes me feel good knowing that I'm in control of this situation and I'm getting to do what I love to do and I'm getting to have fun at it. I mean, television, radio, print, social media. I mean, this is stuff that we do every day. I get to do it and I love it and I get to get paid for it. Come on, it's fun.
You sound like you're having a lot of fun. I'm so happy for you. You know, when I get a chance and we have time today, I like to ask one of my favorite questions, which is, what is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? Now, I'll frame it for the audience, so the audience is kind of clear. We're not asking Dr. Barrett to come off the mountain with the 10 Commandments here, by the way. And in all fairness, the guy has read more books than he can probably remember these days. He's lost track, at least I have, of the countless hours of videos I've watched, by the way. And at my age, I've been to so many workshops and trainings, it just becomes a blur. But if you had to reach out, Dr. Barrett, and grab one from any of the mentors along this journey and say, this is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, what is it and why?
Well, it was from someone I heard a long time ago, and they told me that adversity is inevitable, but stress is optional. And it basically was saying to me that bad times are going to come, but it's up to me as to whether I wallow in it. It's up to me as to whether I hold on to it. Because I remember things that 30 years ago, it would bother me. But today, the same thing could happen and it doesn't bother me, which shows me that it's an option on whether I choose to stress over it or not. And I now just take life on to where I actually say, you know what, I'm not going to stress about anything. And I know for some people who are watching right now, you're saying, yeah, but I got this going on. I got that going on. But I guarantee you, there is someone else right now who has that same thing going on, or maybe even worse. And they're not letting it get internalized. See, the thing is that stress is the adversity that you allow to get inside you. Just don't let it get inside you. Think about a solution and not the problem. If you can't come up with the solution, then guess what? It may not be able to be solved. So just move on to something else. Just don't focus on that thing, because what you focus on is what's going to grow.
I love it, man. That's spot on. What do you do for fun? We're not out saving the world, man. Out doing media cool stuff.
Well, I love to travel. You and I were talking about that a minute ago. I know you do too. I love to travel, and I go sing karaoke sometimes too. I do that as well. And I like food. I love food.
Okay, well, what's one of your favorite places to travel and why? You can't just leave us hanging. Folks that want to know, is you go out the country, in the country? Like, what's one of the favorite places he likes to travel these days?
Well, one place that I loved, and I definitely would love going back. I went to Curacao a few years ago, and I loved it. It was just so beautiful. The pastel colors on the building and the water being so clear. I loved it there, and I definitely wouldn't mind going back there. But there's so many other places I can't even name that I want to go to, and I'm planning on going to. I want to see this world. This world is so much bigger than what we have right now, and I wanted to see it all. Kind of like you, Shay.
Well, we have so much time. We want to get a little pleasure out of life. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. To come down the home stretch, two-part question. Number one, what type of clients, I asked this question first, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? I don't know if you're taking on any clients. And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that we have now? Where should they go and how should they connect with you, man?
Sure. The clients that I'm looking for high achieving leaders who are looking to become that go-to person in their industry. So if you are in the C-suite, if you are an executive or were an executive, maybe a retired executive, retired CEO, or maybe even a former athlete or a sports coach, and you feel that you have still so much to offer as far as what's inside your two ears and you want to give it to the world, let us help you by putting you on your own media platforms and making you that industry icon. That's the people I'm looking for. How they can keep this conversation active. If you want to talk to me, I'm giving everyone a free consultation. They can contact me by just going to my website, which is www.mediabosspro.com, mediabosspro.com, and do that as well. They can also go to my podcast, which is the Media Boss Podcast. You can go check us out on the Media Boss Podcast there and on YouTube as well. And you can check us out on LinkedIn as well on Media Boss Live. We have some LinkedIn Live. Shay Brown happened to be a guest on Media Boss Live last week. So we're happy to have him there as well. But guys, if you want to just check us out, I'm on social media channels as well. I'd love to have a conversation with any of you.
It's fantastic, man. Let me say thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Can't wait to have you back again soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we don't have a show. And so no matter what platform you're on, no matter where you're watching, it's always cool when we get your comments. I enjoy every one of them, most of them. No, I'm joking. But what we really want you to do is don't worry about hitting the like button, hit the share button. If you can do that on the platform you're watching, wherever you are, hit the share button and pay this message to someone else, by the way. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you, as you're watching right now, you're just an amazing, incredible, special, unique person. I know people may say that all the time, like hokey dokey smoky, but no, it's true. You are a special person. And I believe no matter what you're going through, that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, it ain't changed. It's still Che Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. Peace, Barrett. Peace, everybody. We out.